today. My name is Nicole Quadra. I work with the San Mateo County Libraries. I am staff to the San Mateo County Poet Laureate program, which San Mateo County Libraries administers on behalf of our County Board of Supervisors. Can everybody hear me?
No.
No?
Now we can.
We just went to the trouble of turning the mic down.
Oh.
How's the volume like in the back?
Fine.
Is it good? Okay. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out on this kind of blustery day for this holiday poetry concert. Brought to you by our illustrious San Mateo County Poet Laureate, Aileen Cassinetto.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Happy holidays. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to our holiday poetry concert featuring local poets and members of the Westbay Community Band. First of all, I wanted to actually thank San Mateo County Libraries for sponsoring this event, and especially Nicole for coordinating everything. I also wish to thank Millbrae Library for hosting. And now, to play the prelude, the Westbay Flute Trio.
I'll just read, I think I'll just read the one poem called Horseback. I'll read both. The first one is called The River Eight, and that word EYOT is from Middle English, and it means a little island in a river. And it's formed when a river makes a loop just from the land and then joins itself again, and then it makes a little island. So this is The River Eight. Child at the circle, drawn in mud, willow branch and shining fur humming under the surface, earwig and pillbug, crane fly and pearl, heron at the tide line, stock still, clamshell, thin white lines, milk thistle quill. Hold out your hands, open your heart, here's where the world slides in. And the second poem called Horseback. My daughter in the saddle, the hills not rising behind her, not coming up, not jutting into the sky, but rather holding her like a couple of large, soft arms as the animal turns at the far end of the fence and heads back toward me. I'm standing at the gate now, and I can sense the valves of my heart opening and thumping shut, steady as hooves, unbeautiful as the thing you'd find beneath a stump. Something mysterious and unidentifiable, with jagged edges, asymmetrical, and perhaps a dark purple, maybe the size of a fist like they say, but so distinct from anything you've ever seen before, that you're moved to invent a new kingdom, a realm untouched by the physical world, where the need to name the shape does not even exist, and nothing can be pinned down or held as evidence, and nobody knows the code or holds the key. Thank you so much for your attention.
Young girl, in San Francisco, in Plaza, these days, a landman, and it's heavy. You can visit an art show, a park, a restaurant in the Mission, and he is glad to transport you to Latin America, and you come out wondering, why did I make this video? With your pride surging, knowing that you want more is to tell the world that you are a Latina. And this is number 2, where angry, excited, soft voices, many accents, flowers, inspires Mama's coffee aroma, caresses the mind, awakening into words. Words waiting in the passageways of memories, calling from long, long misplaced. They long to be born. Words struggling, moaning, sharing, crying, calling, from some long misplaced day to be born. Words struggling, moaning, sharing, crying, changing, informing, angry, excited, soft voices, many accents. Where? In a poetry reading.
That's great. But I actually wanted to invite my 2 students who came with me here up to the front. I want them to read their poems, which seems fitting because this reading is about themes on childhood, and while these people are certainly just navigating between childhood and adulthood, they are writers with very fierce words to say, and I would be honored to have them read to you right now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm from Nigeria and I moved to the US to finish my high school last year. So the title of the poem I'll be reading is Waiting. The clock is ticking, tick, tick, tick. Adrenaline pumping faster, incessant tapping of the tassels, beats of imaginary sweat flowing down my head. Impatience and anxiety feels like a tangled lace. Hope, sadness, happiness, tangled up in mind. A crooked voice breathes confidence, and a patient mind, a lost soul waiting for a miracle. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tanaro. I'm from Los Angeles, and I came out here to study high school or high school. I'm a language student, so I study languages, and this summer I went to Morocco to further my studies in Arabic, and that's where I wrote this poem. We used to hold hands. I was born into a lie. He was raised by deceit. She was blinded by fear. The crescent moon. The star is persecuted. The star is ignored. The star is blamed. The crescent moon. We used to be close, all of us, laughed together, played together, and ate together. We were a community. But then he came, the green human that can even make a dog dance, and it all changed. Some cameras began to play with words, have hearts of rock, and in return, got their pockets stacked. Crowns turned on, walls turned on, fences turned on. On who? The crescent moon. But change is possible. We just need to wake up, take the blindfold off, and meet the crescent moon. Because he's knowledgeable, she's caring, and because they're just like me. In the end, we're a family, and we should just go back to holding hands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, those are my two students. Not all of them, but two of my babies. So, yay. Okay, great. Thank you. I can remember that. Okay. Thanks. I've been taking up a lot of time here. So this poem I wrote after I had a difficult conversation. All of these conversations are difficult. With one of my dear students about coming out to his parents. It's called You Can Hold On for Another Night. Stop trying to convince me of your logic, oh gentle boy, for love is heedless. You tell me it's a burden you can bear. I say yes. You use the word disrespect. I fight the urge to remind you of your humanity. You are so strong, so young after all. A heart so pure and pliable, there are countless ways it can break. Does it bother you? You can say yes. Did I find you breathless, sobbing on the doorstep last night? You can tell me no. You can tell me whatever you want. My fury may have reason, but that doesn't matter. My outrage means nothing. It won't change how you greet them on the phone. How the years, packed neatly inside you, come out in childish smile. Tender boy, love is inexplicable. Defending it is a waste. You climb through 9,000 kilometers like you're ascending to heaven, but as you go, I will reach for your hand. I will tell you, you can hold on for another night. Thank you.
Yes, I am a haiku poet, and I've been writing haiku for most of my life, over 50 years. Nature is my church, and haiku is my spiritual practice. And these are haiku that I've gathered together about children. Days old, her gaze returns to the azure. Plum blossoms, the child slung on her hip licks the air. Balancing, a boy empties his shoe in the summer wind. Deserted schoolyard, the fence he climbed over to Iraq. On his youth in Japan, my neighbor falls silent. The clear summer sky. Summer evening. The grandchild waves once more at the empty road. The story ends, my daughter's eyes wide with ceiling stars. The story ends, my granddaughter's eyes wide with ceiling stars. Thank you.
This poem is called Oracle, and I should explain maybe that my mother, who also was a poet, also a much better poet, didn't write all the time I was growing up. She was working to support the family, and it wasn't until I was in my teens that she went back and got her MFA. So this poem is about the time before that. Oracle. Dad out of state for work, Mom got spooky, shuffling her tarot cards, gazing at the layouts, pouring glass after glass from the big gallow jug. Crossing the unlighted living room, I'd see her, hunched over the Ouija board, planchette roaming, mystifying oracle, mother unfathomable. At the dinner table, she ignored us, lost somewhere and trying to stay lost in her constant gloaming, slapping our words away like biting insects. Mystifying oracle, we could have used you. Please explain our mother to us and where she went. Is she coming back? Yes? No? Goodbye? We didn't know how to ask her, or the oracle, or anyone. Family's first rule for children, don't ask for anything. What did we know of what our mother wanted? She was a year away from writing poetry again. I wonder if the planchette spelled that out for her, or if it just left her, as we were left, in the dark. That wasn't right, but I can almost understand. Now that poetry has taken me by the wrist to the cleft in the muse's cave, where heavy vapors fume. Now I wish we could join in this dimness, our fingers delicately spread, my mother and I, scrying for what living rock can yield. Smoke, water, honey. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy for us to be together today. Can I just say for a moment that it's a good time for us to be together? And can I say for a moment it's time for us to breathe? Can we all just inhale and exhale? Let's do that. Inhale and exhale. And why should we be able to breathe? It's because we made it to this point. And out of all this craziness that's going on in the world, I'm seeing 2019 go into 2020 with a clear vision for all of us to rise and become the very great people that we were intended to become by the Creator. Let's give the Creator a great big round of applause for our lives. And so we're now to the ending of 2019, and there's so many things that's going through all of our heads about the things we coulda, shoulda, woulda done, and have hope for the future. But during this period of time, let us not forget how we must hold on to our humanity to make things greater for everyone here on the planet. And so I would like to share these words with you, my food for thought. We come upon the morning of each day with expectations on how we'll live our lives on any given day to help those around us to live. We go about our day doing lots of things that support us in fulfilling our destiny and completing what the day brings for us to do in doing our share for humanity. The time is here now before us to make a positive difference in doing our share. Let's do the best that we can on purpose in letting others know the extent of our care. It's now on us to give more thought to food. Good nutrition has many healthy benefits. We all gain from us all being in a happy, better mood. Good nutrition nourishes our minds, bodies, and spirits. Somewhere, someplace, there are millions of people who are in need of your and our kindness and generosity. Let's continue planting seeds of hope for people so that we can all enjoy living in a healthy community. I'm Poetess Kalamu Chaché. Thank you so very much.
And those two boys gave me a lot of emotional stress, and that emotional stress ended up in poems. And so now we're going to take a little more light-hearted approach to the poetry. And this first poem is, I'm going to read 3 of them, but don't worry, they're pretty short. This first poem is called Loving Hands. And it's about my kids' hands. Always grabbing, always clinging, always sticking. Where have they been? What have they touched? When were they clean? And now they're here rubbing my face. Your hands letting me know we share everything, like your runny nose. The next one is about my kids' art. And if you're a parent out there, you know your kids do a lot of very elaborate art projects. So this one's called The Masterpiece. All that cutting and meticulous care, glue. Just the right shapes in just the right places, glue. The utmost concentration, the required contemplation, glue. You step away, your master work through, and your priceless art perfectly stuck to the kitchen table. And our last one. This one is a little less childhood and more about Dad trying to escape, even though he wants to still be responsible and doing his duties, helping out. It's called Dad's Quiet Time. How to find quiet time without the guilt. No reproachful stares making resolve wilt. I'm walking the dog. It has to be done. And with a little silence, it's almost fun. I can hear myself think as I walk this loop. A smile on my face as I pick up poop.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you, Aileen. I just want to start off, I want to say how pleased and happy I am to be reading with young people on this bill. Several years ago, many years ago, when I was in the Poets in the Schools program and teaching in the schools, we made a point of having student poets read with more established poets in the community. We did it a lot. So I really commend Aileen and the county for doing that, for putting students on. I'm really thrilled to be reading with young people. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm going to read a different poem than the one that's on the program here. I'm going to read 2, but I want to read a poem. This month marks the 114th year my grandmother came to America. And with this national conversation, important national conversation we're having about immigration, I think it would be appropriate for you to read this poem. It's called The Campanella Boy. And this was a boy that I knew growing up in San Francisco. The last name was Campanella. But also you should know that Campanella is a strain of mushroom. And this was a good friend of mine who had so many things wrong with him physically, polio, diabetes, and eventually cancer. He died very young. But he lived right around the corner. The Campanella boy. He lived a short time around the corner on Delta Street. Teeth, feet, and neck busted, bent, and crooked. Wore leg braces and headgear to keep from falling apart. Thick leather straps, shiny metal bands, long bolted wires, extra body parts, walking, talking, mechanical boy, moved like Frankenstein and spoke with swollen tongue. Me, the stuttering kid, rubbery arms, legs, goofy high voice, Jerry Lewis hair. Always joking, no clue how I could understand every word he uttered, but I did, as only boys in pain could. 2. Our grandmothers grew up together in Fericano, journeyed together to America from Sicily in 1906, settled in San Francisco just in time to see it destroyed. Spring came and they climbed the hills of McLaren Park near the edge of the neighborhood to gather in baskets weeds, grass, wildflowers, leaves for cooking and healing. I never ran ahead but trudged alongside, far behind, leaned hard against the stammering, plodding, bright, shiny metal flashing sun, our warm faces almost pressing skin. 3. In his basement, smell of wet dirt, wood bark, and manure stung our nostrils, cool, black, damp, spreading pores, spores on cardboard and hay, one corner where prize mushrooms grew. His dark garden secret tending familiar, nurturing return, one step, one leg, one clumping downstairs, dragging metal, stiff-necked cold cement each day until the rich harvest, brown buttons fried in olive oil, butter, garlic, and finocchio. He laughed at grandmother's dancing with wooden spoons. I laughed and threw my head back for both of us. And the last one I'd like to read is, I grew up around the corner. I said from Delta Street. Well, this is the street I grew up on was Teddy Avenue. So this is the poem, Teddy Avenue. When I was a little kid, my grandfather was very big on Theodore Roosevelt. A son of God, he would tell me. And even though Teddy and Jesus were brothers, Teddy was so close to God that sometimes Jesus would get jealous and beat Teddy in all the primaries. Nevertheless, it was something to be proud of, he would tell me, to know your street was named for this country's finest leader. It was some time afterwards that I learned Jesus was never president, Roosevelt was not the second third of the Blessed Trinity, and that Teddy Avenue had been named for a local contractor. And just last week, my older brother informed me that it was not my grandfather who told me all this crap, but a crazy old man who lived across the street, above the grocery store, that all the kids on the block called Grandpa.
There are currently 163,129 children 17 and below currently residing in San Mateo County. I ask myself, how do we support their cultural literacy and future economic mobility? I believe that we are all products of everything we have learned and everything that we have forgotten. We are the dragons we slayed, the monsters we defeated, and the gods we created. It is my hope that with communal participation through poetry, we gain a deeper understanding of what childhood is, as well as everything that it can be. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Emilia Hansen, who is the top prize winner, grades 2 to 3 category of of the first Menlo Park Youth Poetry Contest, co-sponsored by the City of Menlo Park and Menlo Park Library Foundation. Please welcome Ms. Emilia Hansen.
If I were a book, I would have hilarious adventures. I would have superhero dreams. I would swim in beautiful seas and fly over gigantic green trees. I could walk in a castle where you need lots of keys. I could be aboard a pirate ship with my friend and puff for some heavenly fleas. I could see humongous waves which make me look brave. I could see bats who live in dark caves, who also look brave. Why not have you look at a monster or have you read about crabs who like to live in sand? Maybe learn about mermaids who dive around secret lands. Or maybe funny people who like to dance and learn how to prance. Maybe handstand in France. I would love to see all the different types of faces and the eyes of different races. I would love to see the faces of delight or having a great fight. But I most love to see faces cry when they say to me, the book, bye-bye.
This next piece is the theme song to Agatha Christie's Poirot on the PBS mystery series Agatha Christie's Poirot. It's called The Belgian Detective. Oh, you want to tune up too? This next one is for those of you who aren't quite in the Christmas mood this season. It's from the cartoon special, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. It's called You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
And also a defender of rhyme. I've not heard many people rhyming here today, and I'm here to tell you that I think rhyming is important, especially for children. They love it. And in doing so, I want to tell you a little about me. The poems I write. Let me tell you a little about me. I've been writing poems since the age of 3. Come to think of it, I might have been 4. I really don't remember, but who keeps score? My poems tell stories, as you will see. They're often rooted in fantasy. I write for children, young and old, and they seem to like how my stories unfold. The poems I write are written in rhyme. I write this way most of the time. But rhyming, they say, is now passé, no longer the status quo. Yet, who can forget the riveting rhymes of Edgar Allan Poe? Or ask a child, jumping rope, how do you keep the time? It's no brainer, says a child. It's the rhyme, always the rhyme. As for me, I'm going to keep on rhyming. That's the way I am. Just think, if no one ever wrote in rhyme, there'd be no Mary or her little lamb. And this is one of the children's books I have here. And you'll find it in there. It's called Jump Up. Jump up, jump up, jump up high. Reach up, touch the sky. Touch the moon, the sun and stars. Spin with Saturn, land on Mars. Gaze at the comet streaking by. Count the stars you see on high. One star, 2 stars, 3 star, 4, 5 stars, 6 stars. How many more? So much fun up here in the sky. But it's time to leave and say goodbye. So wave to the sun, blow a kiss to the moon, and tell the stars you'll be coming back soon. 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4, 5 stars, 6 stars, and a lot more.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you, Aileen, for having this wonderful event, and I'm just honored to be a part of it and to be in the anthology as well. So I thought I would share 2 poems for you, one from the anthology and one from my book. Just thought of this at the last minute because we've been listening to such amazing music also today, and I just love Christmas music. Even though I'm the daughter of Indian immigrants, I was raised Hindu, I love Christmas music. And so I thought I would share with you a poem about this. This listening to the flutes and listening to the saxophones just really made me want to share it. And there's a lot of different lyrics from different Christmas songs that you might recognize. Okay. So this poem is called "'Tis the Season." Are you listening? The night we caught a 7-foot-tall tree in a green net. It was more noisy than silent, full of rattled voices belting jingle bells off-key. Do you hear what I hear? We sang fa-la-la-la and Batman smells, drove winter wonderland all the way home, soon breathing in that wet pine scent, those daughters murmuring in sleep. Hark, hark the bells, sweet and silver noble fir, unnetted and naked now in the window, waiting for sparkles, for ornamentation. Were the four birds calling or calling? When else can we sing, glisten, glory, partridge, and cheer with such abandon? The tree glimmers, so beautiful, we gasp, over a thing dying. And only now, this one time of year, I long to believe in a holy child and kneel in the church pew, sighing under the weight of song. One daughter awakens. Did Santa come already? No way, baby. We've only just begun. My voice always chokes on the final pa-rum-pa-pum-pum. I am a little poor boy too, who forgets the lyrics, wanders into blue-green silence, pine needles dropping daily on the crisp tree skirt. Thank you. And then the poem I'd like to share for you that's in this wonderful anthology. It's so beautiful, everybody. Just another round of applause for this poetess. With so many different poets and such a wide range, it's just such an honor. This poem is about a community where I grew up. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I grew up in a gated community called Deerwood. And it's a very quiet place with stately homes, and my family was likely the first Indian immigrant family to move into this community. And our family tended to keep to ourselves. We never took part in the amenities that a gated community offers, like the golfing and the lunching at the club. And my parents, they never felt they belonged in places like that. But they still live in Deerwood, and in a home that holds many, many memories for me. So whenever I visit them, I take long walks there, and these memories wash over me. And so this poem is about those memories, and it makes me think about how we belong, but we also don't belong in certain places. So it's sort of a combination of those experiences. So this is called Elegy for Deerwood. Elegy for Deerwood. The cicadas hum in the heat as I walk the old neighborhood, along Windward Way West and Holly Ridge Road, past the country club my parents never dined in, the tennis courts they never served on. I grew up among golf carts and security guards, swayed to air conditioners and ice makers, but the Florida wild was always close, a pink-throated lizard clinging to a window screen. I will not choose between the possum at the window and the blue-haired lady in her Cadillac, for both have made me, just like the pungent armadillo scratching the front door, Victor's hand on my thigh. As the day wanes and waves with waves of heat, my daughter and I stumble on a squirrel carcass near a manicured hedge. Together we peer at the bones, grass sprouting through the eye sockets as the insects crescendo. The carpool van blaring, "Who are you?" Fur and a flake of skin on the rodent's serpentine tail, running through the dunes, pool parties and potlucks, a skull licked clean into a smooth white, reading Wordsworth beside man-made lakes, mirrors of blue sky and pine, bullfrogs hidden in sneakers, family from India, a trail of ants across the rib cage, Elizabeth treating me to cherry cokes from the club, hissing mailboxes, graduations, rolling green, bridal showers, insect wings, baby showers, boys I never kissed, breaking glass, roller skating in driveways, lawns wet with pesticides, warm rain, and I don't know where I am. Among the crickets, crickets, crickets. Thank you.
If I were a book, listen, my crisp pages turn, dancing, spinning in a dim candlelight. My worn-out pages ripped, burned, and broken, waiting to be tended. My words some may call magical, whispering of the future, beholding the past. My words dance with glee, for there is still happiness inside of me. I have been read millions of times, hearing the whisper of their words, like silk being thrown into air, going in all sorts of directions, dancing as it falls into empty air. Each person reads delicately, like they're afraid if they read any different, I will rip into a million different pieces and can never be mended again. But they do not know that if that is to happen, my words will live on, floating in air like dust, still whispering words of wisdom. If you listen so softly, you might hear me. The candlelight flickers, giving a warning of burning out soon, burning away, melting, like my old worn-out pages will too soon. Nobody will ever know the secrets that I carry. They will never know unless they listen.
Hi, today I'll be reading 2 poems. My first poem is called Make Me Wonder. Stuffed animals, more pillow than friend. Toys, tucked away in high shelves. Homework, calling my name. Flashcards waiting to be done. Laundry that I've done myself. Caffeine to sustain me after a sleepless night. And interest in politics beyond who the good guy is. Tears about emotions deeper than I've ever been able to express before. Make me wonder, how did my childhood slip away? And my second poem is a tribute to my aunt who's been visiting from Minnesota. Dear Cindy, people tell me I'm like you. I've got your nose, got your sense of humor, honored mine to call you my aunt. I want to impress you, kept my distance, acting cool, as cool as you, as hip, wanted to make you smile, do that thing, flick your hair into place. To have your bravery, Cindy, I love you. When people tell me I'm like you, when I see my mom and you and my mom, Cindy, never forget the feeling of your hugs. Love, Cerra.
Hi, good afternoon everyone. I would just like to take the moment to give my thanks to Aileen here. Thank you so much for putting this beautiful event together, and thank you so much for making me a part of this anthology. I hardly can contain my excitement to see my poem in a book for the first time, and thank you so much, Brickley. It makes a huge difference. I've seen my poems on paper, just printed out, but seeing them in a book makes a huge difference in how I think about my own writing and how all these amazing poets are writing today. So it's been a pleasure to read and enjoy this place here. Thank you. So I'll be reading 2 of the poems that are here in the anthology. And the first one, they are both an ode to not just nature, but also that child within us who has a very innate desire to keep discovering and keep finding joy in little things. And the first one that I'll be reading, it just reminds me of something interesting. Last year, I attended the US Poet Laureate Tracy K. Smith's reading, and it was her interview, and during the question-answer round, she was just sharing anecdotes, and she said that when somebody gets to know she's a poet, they usually say that, oh, you're a poet, so you must know names of trees and flowers. And for a moment I was like, yes, I'm guilty of that. So here's the first one. It's called Footsteps of Spring. Golden poppies, California buttercups, toyon berries, audacious wild things, not meant for the bouquet. She stood at the door, charming in her carelessness, holding that cluster of spring in her little muddy hands. Slowly, she walked towards me. Thank you. The second one, it's called Invitation. Have you ever walked in the long silver rain? Have you watched it run into creeks and cracks? Listen, here it comes. Big, wild rain in spells and storms and stories, and I feel the coming of the rain inside me first. How marvelously have I adapted to all storms, that now I can truly listen, watch it fall on the other side of my life. Into each little thing I pay attention to. Small neon rain on smooth asphalt. Micro droplets cradled in cobwebs. On the greenest blade of grass. Falling off the beak of the sparrows at rest. Pinpricks of water against my face, mapping every inch of space across bodies of land and water and flesh and ink. Come join me in this conversation with the long silver rain. Follow the song of the river newly born. Let it remind you of how loved you are. Be here, ready when you are, to feel the rain outside, the quiet within. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm reading two poems, and this first one is called Where I'm From. I am from Raisin Bran, from elderly grapes and sugar dust. I am from the back fence rosebush, cream, silken sheen, drawing bees who drew my blood. I am from the parched front yard, the sprinkler and I laughing so hard we cried, each glistening drop a fragile summer rainbow, dissolved on my blue-stained tongue. I am from burnt erasers and crayon aromas, from Emily Dickinson and Theodore Geisel. I am from Good Morning to You and Sweet Dreams, Sweet Pea, from Grab a Coat and Nighttime Adventures. I am from Once Upon a Time and The Whole Shelf, from listening with my whole body on the alphabet rug. I'm from Candy Kitchen and Mystic Point, chitter chatter snow cones and buttersweet hominy, from Pop-Pop gluing jigsaws on his handcrafted basement bar to Rena's multitude of wedding rings. My crowded bookshelf holds a composition book, Crayola scenes between black covers, a childhood in waxy strokes, abandoned to fill new pages. I am from Memory Lane, where the sidewalk ends and I begin, a fragile rainbow etched in crayon. And then the second one is called Funny Things Are Everywhere, and that's a reference to Dr. Seuss because he has this one book and it has a passage from there to here, here to there, funny things are everywhere. And so this is a poem about him going here to there. There is a bridge from here to there, across a gorge so wide that as I stand halfway across, I can't see either side. A riverbed of crayon wax spills onto tan bark shores, echoes of blacktop laughter fade, suspended silence roars. Tatters of sour melodies stick to my lungs with smog, as swings and seesaws dissipate into a soiled fog. I peer down into the abyss of endless velvet black, longing to sink in its embrace and feel my tongue hang slack. The rope bridge shudders at my step, I'm hanging by a thread. My shoulders burn with graphite hail, too numb to shield my head. Trudging along, I catch a glimpse of fuzzy future days, a jagged city skyline slicing through a sunlight haze. Storm-sodden clouds eclipse the scene. Unsure, I pause to stare. Are skipping stones or avalanches waiting for me there? I stand halfway across a bridge, awash in fragile dawn. A final glance back seals my fate. Wearied, I blunder on.
I'm not a professional, like a lot of the people here, but I wanted to say something really quick. I was 17 when I wrote these poems, kind of on the cusp of turning 18, and there's a lot of fear around losing a part of yourself, losing a blanket of being young still, and even though just starting that still gets to me too. And sometimes when you lose things, you feel it and it's painful, and that's kind of what my second poem's about, but more often than not, it just kind of happens and you don't realize it. That's what this poem's about. It's called Misplaced. In our white cabinets, donated to my mother by her father when he moved back to Munich, seen now that our second-hand vases have been packed away, bound for our new old house, is a cardboard box, inscribed in permanent marker across the side, Eva's tapes. Unlike our box in the garage that says Nutcrackers, when really it was Halloween costumes circa 1999 to 2004, or our water-damaged bin labeled bedroom, which contains a really unhealthy collection of novelty nutcrackers inside. This small brown container is home to about 25 plastic cassettes, full of songs and music I could hear if we still had our cassette player. Slightly longer. I'm sorry if I take up anyone's time. It's called Something That I Need. I didn't used to need noise. I didn't used to wake up to dead phone batteries or the soft hum of the radio station that was recommended to me the night before. I used to stuff my ears with cotton to drown out the wind and the foghorn and the ocean and all the other things that scared me and retreat behind my eyes to safety. I would paddle my chimeric dinghy out to sea. It let me breathe again, and I didn't mind the headaches from the waves crashing against my skull all night. It tasted like salt water, but it was warm and quiet there. The rocking of my hippocampus lulled me to sleep. Now, long after I have become stranded, and my boat is nothing more than splinters, carved up from all the tallies I made to mark the days, I no longer feel safe here. The water has run cold and I see jellyfish just below the surface. They are soft and bright and tempting, but I know better. So begrudgingly, I grasp onto the rope I have braided for myself out of soft-spoken radio hosts and sitcom reruns and pull myself ashore. I would prefer silence, but there are jagged rocks in the water now and the biting waves roar against them, so I must first drown myself out. I tried to make new earplugs, but all I could find out there were seashells, and when I pressed them to my head, the sounds of the sea just came ricocheting back to me. I need something to hollow me out, to make me new again, to get the sand and barnacles and fear out of my brain, power washing it like the car wash a few miles from here. Or maybe a bird. Not like the silent seagulls I've grown accustomed to, circling me more like vultures, heads bald and beaks unhinged. Yes, a little vermilion flycatcher to squawk in my ear at night, singing in time with the foghorn until he is all that I know. He will murmur his stories of canyons and dry brush, and I will let them wash over me in the hopes that they will wring me dry. But if that doesn't work, if my little red savior was just a little too late and water pours from my nostrils and out my lips, at least he will have plenty to drink.
Thank you so much for spearheading this anthology, creating so many community building and nurturing venues. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to be in this beautiful anthology and to share that with all of you and to read here this afternoon. Two probably of the shortest poems you'll hear all afternoon. One of them is in both of these publications and the other is in neither. So they're both about models and they're both about flight. Can you hear me okay? The first from the anthology in the book is called Quicksilver, which is the name of a model that my father designed and sold the plans for as well. And about both the physical model and the cultural models that we grow up with, and that often during childhood we are the least aware of and most affected by. Quicksilver. 4 years old, I pose with a model airplane on the front lawn. It is bigger than I am. Nose wheel and wingtip lean into the grass. Beside the transmitter, the one with the beetle green metal housing, long obsolete. I kneel, holding the neck of the Quicksilver against my shoulder, not seeing all I am modeling on a morning of open sky, in a moment's breath, in flagrant light. The next piece is called Crane, and I just want to acknowledge that the master or mistress of paper cranes who taught my child is here with us today, teacher Aileen. It's also a winter house. Crane. Bird of folded surfaces, of flowers and stripes that run across and underneath your wings, your crimped beak, and all the facets of your back, whose shape I can't name, whose flat beginnings ride the turnings and swipes of fingertips in a patch of daylight on a wooden floor, while clothes are sorted and the coffee warmed. Your tail becomes the wand we lift you by, and in our child's quiet play, you fly.
This tune was first made popular by Fred Astaire, but more recently by Gene Wilder and Peter Boyle in Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein. So when I hear this tune, I always think of Young Frankenstein. Selection from Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite. We're going to play another selection from that. This is Duke Ellington's version. It's called, it's based on Sugar Plum Fairy, and he calls it Sugar Plum Cherry. This next one is an old jazz standard, and I was reminded to breathe recently. So I needed to hear that. I want to dedicate this one to Chaché.
please support our local poets by purchasing their books. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.